Hello, everyone, and welcome to a recap of day one of the FIFA World Cup. Now, before we get into the recap, make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss future updates revolving around the FIFA World Cup. Now, this is just a recap. There will not be clips of highlights here for copyright reasons, but you can obviously find the highlights on YouTube, probably on Fox Soccer. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Mexico versus South Africa. This was a pretty good opening game, in my opinion. From the start, Mexico went all out against South Africa, looking for that win in front of their home fans. Early on, Raul Jimenez had a great volley that Williams had to save. And then later on, the South African player, Sihole, who had a terrible game today, he lost the ball high up the field. It was Lira who won the ball back, passed it to Quinones, and he finished it off brilliantly. It was a pretty good first World Cup goal, I will say. It was a nutmeg under the goalkeeper. And in general, Quinones had an amazing game. He obviously got man of the match, and it was well deserved because even besides the goal, he was just everywhere. He was creating, making runs, just being a menace to that South African defense. The reality is that South Africa never truly got going. Like I can't even think of one good chance that they had throughout the entire game, and that's just the reality of the situation for South Africa. They also benched some of their decent attacking players. Apollos especially, I think he should have started. I think the manager Hugo Bros went a bit too conservative in this game. He respected Mexico too much. He went with a very defensive formation, and it did not work for him. South Africa created nothing. If anything, they were lucky they didn't lose this game by more than 2 goals. If it like 2-0 is honestly for the way South Africa played, that was honestly a good result for them because it could have easily been four, and that really would have ruined their goal difference, which is something very important now due to the fact that third place teams qualify. But a lot of times a tiebreaker will be goal difference. So losing only 2-0 instead of 4-0 like the game probably should have been, that's honestly the only positive thing that I could say for South Africa. And also the national anthem, which I did like a lot. It was the national anthem of South Africa is very nice. I must admit that. But besides that, it was nothing good for South Africa today. And Raul Jimenez in the second half, he scored a brilliant header, his first ever World Cup goal. Just a few months after his father passed away, you can see that he was very emotional. Obviously, Jimenez in 2020, he was in a life-threatening situation when he broke his skull. Thankfully, he recovered. Of course, he now has to wear like a headgear to protect him when he plays, but he's still here playing football and scoring at the World Cup for the first time in his career. And I'm very happy for him. You could tell he was very emotional, and he truly deserved that goal. I thought El Piojo Alvarado had a very good game as well. His work rate was very good. He got an amazing assist for the second goal, and he was just everywhere. I think he also won one of the red cards. And speaking of red cards, there were 3 red cards in this game. That is a World Cup record. Never before had an opening game of a World Cup had 3 red cards until now. It was first Sihole, then Suwane, and at the end Montes. And I have to be honest, I think all 3 of the red cards were the correct decisions. I saw people complain about Mexico's red card, but I think that was truly a goal scoring opportunity that Montes stopped. And I think the red card was the correct decision in all honesty. But I still think Mexico will be fine for the second game. I think Edson Alvarez at center back is not that bad, so they should be able to deal with one game without Cesar Montes. They should be fine. And yeah, I think that Mexico are in pole position to finish top of this group. Now it's time to talk about South Korea versus the Czech Republic. And this was a brilliant game. I honestly think this one was even better than the first game. The first half, it had its moments here and there. You could tell South Korea were trying to create something, but that Czech defense was very good in that first half. The Korean players couldn't get past it. They only really had shots from distance. Some of them were not like totally far off, but there wasn't any real chances. But you could still tell that South Korea were the better team in that first half, and that trend continued in the second half because South Korea, they continue to pelter Czechia's goal. But despite all that, you would think that South Korea would be the one who scored first, but it was actually Czechia who scored first, thanks to a long throw in from Kufal, the former West Ham player, to Krejci, who had an insane header. It was a bullet header, truly an unstoppable header. And when I saw that goal, I thought Czechia might actually get the result here because they're a very physical team. Their defense was well organized, and despite the fact that South Korea were clearly the better team, they were struggling to break down that Czechia defense. And I thought that trend was going to continue. But then, out of nowhere, Juan, who had an insane game, for me, the best performance out of any player so far at this World Cup. Obviously, it's only been 2 games, but still, he had an insane performance. He got in behind and he just chipped the ball over the goalkeeper, and the chip was insane. It kind of like bended in. Like you usually don't see chips bending, but that chip bended into the back of the net. It was a fantastic goal, and he deserved it. He had a great performance today. And as soon as that goal went in, you could just tell South Korea they were gonna go try to find that winning goal. But then Czechia actually scored another goal, but it was denied for a clear offside. But once again, the set pieces, and I mentioned this in my predictions video that Czechia are a very physical team, and I knew Korea were gonna struggle on that. And yeah, I mean Czechia, they scored a goal from a set piece. They had a goal disallowed from another set piece, and that was clearly Korea's weakness. But despite that, they still got through because of the super sub. Oh, came on, and he got that winning goal. For me, he should be a starter for Korea because he is that focal target man that Korea team was lacking in that first half. For me, I think the manager should put him in the starting role from now on at this World Cup. And despite that very deserved second goal from Korea, that didn't stop Czechia from having one last truly good opportunity where the goalkeeper Kim made an unbelievable save, the save of the tournament so far. And because of that save, South Korea were able to win 2-1. That's a crucial win. I did not expect much from South Korea at this tournament because their recent friendlies were not good. The manager was getting a lot of criticism from the fans, but they have silenced the criticism in this first game. They were insanely good. All of the worries that Korea had before the World Cup, I think now they have definitely quieted down. And it wasn't just Juan who had a good game. Kang In Lee, the PSG player, also had a great game. I think Son was decent. He was not good in his finishing, but I think his overall movement and tricks were actually pretty decent today. He created space for his teammates. He just should have been a little bit more unselfish on a couple of occasions. And for this game, I'm not sure who got man of the match. Surely it was Juan, but if it went to Kim, I will also understand because that save at the end literally won his team the 3 points. But I think Juan definitely deserved it, and he probably did get man of the match. On FOTMob here, he did get man of the match, but I'm not sure if the actual official World Cup gave him the man of the match award, but I'm sure they definitely did. And yeah, that wraps up the first day of the FIFA World Cup. What a promising start to the tournament. The atmosphere in both games were insane. The Mexican fans in the first game, they were putting so much pressure. Like, you could just tell South Africa, they were shook. They didn't know what to do because of that atmosphere. And in the second game, all the Mexicans were cheering for South Korea. It felt like a South Korean home game. And yeah, it was very fun to watch due to the atmosphere, due to the way that both teams played. So that will be it for this video. Tomorrow we will discuss day 2 of the FIFA World Cup. Before I leave, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future content. And every like helps my video show up on the algorithm. And without anything else to say, have a good night, everyone.